Hello, it's Bradley J, and we are live. God, I hate the heat, but that's not why we're here. First, let me say hello, and how are you? I hope you're well. For those of you who enjoy the heat, well, you're in business. This is getting ridiculous. All the trees in my area are starting to go brown. But that's not why we're here. Again, we're here to talk about ticket prices, and we'll just figure out what's going on. I'm curious to find out from you why you pay the high ticket prices and how high will you go. And this has been, well, I'm thinking of this topic because Steve Morse, Boston Globe music writer, posted something on Facebook that talked about this, and the response got a lot of traction for good reason. It's obscene. So let's talk about it. First of all, the question is it worth it to pay the ticket prices to go see Bruce Springsteen? No. That's my answer is no. However, many disagree because if they didn't, they wouldn't pay the price and they wouldn't be that high. Have you seen how much they are? I mean, I'm seeing balcony seats for $300. The lowest was $340 I saw. Maybe there are cheaper tickets out there that I didn't see. And I saw them going up to, into the 1,500. Maybe I'm not sure exactly all the prices. I did research Ticketmaster and another one called Vivid, I think. But I'm not an expert at Ticketmaster. I mean, some of the more expensive seats may be club seats and come with a soda or something. I don't know. Or you get to meet Bruce. By the way, in my experience, those meet and greets are not worth it. Especially for the money you pay. But anyway, let's get down to it. It's off the chart. It's disgusting. It's shameful. And it's antithetical to what, in particular, Bruce Springsteen represents. He's a blue-collar guy, right? That's his whole shtick. So first, let's start out by asking yourself, what is rock? Rock music. It's kind of a celebration of the anti-establishment, right? It's supposed to be, right? Think about what rock bands do. They live wild. They're out of the mainstream, alternative lifestyle kind of thing. I'm not going to be held down by the man. Yet, folks are kowtowing to the man and paying these prices. Bruce Springsteen has become the man. He's become the establishment. And a lot of these bands, it's like, my friends go and see the Stones, and they pay way, way, way more than I would pay. I mean, Bowie was my man. They pay way more than I would pay to go see Bowie. I'm happy with the memories. I'll go to the small clubs. How much would you pay? Are Bruce Springsteen tickets too expensive for you? So what is rock? Rock music is supposed to fight against things like high ticket prices. And when we talk about Bruce himself, blue-collar guy, it's like, come on, man. How can you do this to your fans? BCN personality, and she worked at many stations, Leslie Palmiter, commented on Facebook that Springsteen had, or concert tickets, promoters, etc., the whole industry has weaponized your loyalty. I don't know if she used the word loyalty. She did use the word weaponize. And I will say weaponized your loyalty. You're loyal to the guy, and to me, it's a betrayal. You are a loyal fan, and they're going to stick it to you. Not just Bruce, but anybody that charges that much. And how much fun can it be? Think of the fun. You could say the ticket, just call it rounded off, kind of a mid-level price, $300. I mean, $1,000, something like that. That's what I'm seeing a lot. $1,000. What else could you do with that? Well, you can go to Europe in the off season for sure. Actually, you could go to. I saw a fare to. Where was it? Not Iceland. Somewhere in Europe for $1,100. Even now, at the peak of the season. Off season, you can go $600, $700. A round trip ticket to Europe for cheaper than a Bruce Springsteen concert. How many beautiful, nice dinners? How many $100 dinners can you buy for $1,000? Well, that's pretty straightforward. 10. That's fancy dinner out. Fancy dinner out for two, 5 times. That's 5 evenings out. And think about one of the reasons I have been able to save money is because I always think, how many hours would I have to work to do this thing? If I want to spend some money, how many hours would I have to work to pay for it? Well, let's do the math. Let's say somebody makes $25 an hour. That's not minimum wage. It's not fancy. $25 an hour. It's a nice round number to work with. A lot of people make $25 an hour. Okay, how many hours do you have to work to earn a $1,000 Bruce Springsteen ticket? 40, right? 25 times 4 is 100. Times 10 to get to 1,000. That's a full 40-hour week before taxes. Before taxes. I just don't get how they get folks to pay it. Have you lost your minds? What is it? Help me out. What is it you see? Do you love Bruce Springsteen? Do you love him? Like love. Are you afraid that he's going to die? This will be the last time you ever get to see him? So what? Not worth it. Let's see. We have John Graham. How are you, John? Steve nailed it. Hypocrite rock. They, Bruce, have become the people they wrote about hating. No kidding. And let's take a look at Bruce Springsteen in particular. What his net worth is. I forgot to look up his net worth. Will somebody look it up? Go to networth.com right now. Springsteen. And tell me what it says. I'm guessing $500 million. That's my guess. $500 million. 500 million. All right, let's just say 300 million. All right, let's take a look at how much. And somebody said, well, you know, the show's big. There's multiple trucks that come in. Okay, number one, don't do that. Don't bring in a bunch of trucks. If I have to pay $1,000, I don't want to see a big thing and screens and stuff, balloons or whatever they do. If I want to see Bruce, I want to see Bruce. First of all, going to a big arena is a bummer anyway. I can't stand it. That's not what rock is about. Rock is supposed to be in your face. Like, some people like that experience. Going to this big giant place, driving there, paying for parking, going in the parking lot, doing this thing. I don't know. I can't stand it. But that you may love that. That's cool. And then you go to the show. How long does it last for Bruce? 4.5 hours? I couldn't take 4.5 hours of a concert anyway. That's me though. Yawn. Really? 2 hours? Okay. Check please. I'm done. Maybe that's because I've seen so many shows. All these factors are weird. Bruce, you don't need the money. Why are you doing this to your fans? And fans, just say no. As long as you guys keep paying these prices, they're just going to go up. Why do they do it? Because they can. You have a lot of power with your dollar. That's where it's at. If no one showed up, the tickets prices would go down. So back to the cost. The cost of the concert is fantastically huge these days. Gasoline and all. So what? If it costs that much to put on a show, it means I got to pay $800. then I don't want to go. It's no more thrilling to me to go to a place like that and to go to O'Brien's on Harvard Ave and stand in the front row for $15. That is a more legitimate experience. That is a rock experience. Go to the bar, you get a beer. Oh, the beer only costs $8 here, and that's for a decent beer. It's not the outrageous price they charge for beer. It's an unpleasant experience. Don't you feel like a sheep that's being taken advantage of? It's true. Your loyalty has been weaponized against you. Where is it going to stop? Well, it's not going to stop. We talk about people whining about the economy. Really, how bad can the economy be if Bruce Springsteen can charge those prices and fill big venues? You get to do what you want to do. I don't get it. I feel like I want to know what goes on in your head. What are you loving about the experience? Walk yourself through it. Really? How much does Bruce make? Well, let's just round it off and say an average of $1,000. You go to the Fenway Park, for example. I don't know how many people fit in TD Garden. How many people fit in there? I don't know. But the bands that play, if he were to play a big venue or a moderate venue like, say, Fenway Park. Fenway Park's like 30,000, $1,000 a piece. 30,000. Add on 3 more zeros, that's 30 million, right? For one night. Are you telling me that there's $15 million worth of trucking and equipment and labor and costs? Even if it were $15 million, he'd be making $15 million in one night. Really? Bruce, listen to me. You don't need the money. What are you doing? Why would you do this to your legacy? Why don't you stay cool? Be cool. You really should do it for free. Or donate all the money to Ukraine. How's that? He could buy HIMARS with it. Those things are expensive, and they're awesome. They're awesome as long as we have them. Why don't you say that? Every penny you make is dedicated to buying more missiles for the HIMARS, because that's what they're running low on. HIMARS are these high mobility rocket launchers that are used in Ukraine now, and they're fantastic. They're so accurate. They're accurate to within 1.4 meters at 70 kilometers away. Insane. And people are complaining they only have 12, but it's about the ammunition. The range is so long, you can just take out target after target after target after target with only 12 of them. But I'm getting off the subject. Let's see. Bruce, can now afford to be hypocrites as they have FU money. He's had FU money for 30 years. Comparable, all these celebrities always talking about climate change, yet they have private jets. Okay, fair enough. All these celebrities. The Eagles charge more than Bruce. That's bad news. Forget it. It's all so phony to me. But that's me. I guess you get to do, yeah, you do. You get to do what you want with your money. Can somebody out there just explain to me the attraction? Oops, sorry. We have Rudolph. Yeah, Rudolph. I watch all the rockers on YouTube, I know. The fees drive me bananas. Bananas! Driving me bananas. Oh, yeah. Think about all the carbon spewed out by those trucks. For those of you who don't believe in climate change, well, then you don't believe in science. It's pretty easy to prove that climate change is, how much of climate change is man-made. Are you ready? Carbon retains heat. You take a square yard of air, measure how much carbon is in it, and then multiply it by how many square yards of air there are. It's very doable. They know how much of a temperature change, a heat increase, will occur in a given space using a given amount of carbon. It's extremely straightforward science. I remember going to concerts on the Common back in the 80s. You could stand on Tremont Street and hear the whole concert. Yeah. Let me think. I'm trying to think if I ever liked a big concert. I've gone to a bunch of big concerts. I liked working them because I got to interview the artists. Would I go to them? I did go to see David Bowie at Foxborough Stadium, but I didn't pay, of course. I actually might have paid once. But back then, whatever it cost was, affordable. It wouldn't cost you 40 hours. It wouldn't cost you a week's pay. Anyway, there's that. I'm going to... it's going to get loud in here because I have to turn on the AC. Is there anything else I want to share with you? No, I guess that's it. So, in closing... Oh, there is something I want to share with you. I'm on WBZ tonight with Morgan White, a junior, at 11. So there's that. So I can't drink too much tonight. Not too much. I was always good on about that kind of thing. Even in my rock and roll days, I took the job seriously. I did not get hammered before the show. So what else is there to share? Nothing, I guess. Right, everything's great. I'm trying to stay healthy, which is, increasingly difficult as you get older. But while getting old sucks, the alternative, not getting old, is, of course, worse. Remember back in the day? Don't trust anyone over 30. What? Can anyone remember 30? Can you remember that? Well, I guess at 30, I had been on BCN for probably 5 years. So I vaguely remember it. But these are good days. These are good times. There's pluses and minuses. Yeah. Watch what you eat, everybody. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna go now, and I'll actually talk to you tomorrow because I really enjoy doing this, and I've gotten away from it, but makes me feel good to do so. I will check in tomorrow. So if you're up, can you join me on WBZ News Radio 1030, 617-254-1030. Call Morgan White Jr. And I'm going to get a bit political tonight. I might as well get political now. A little bit. Let me just ask, and you don't have to answer because I'm not going to stick around long enough to answer you, but let me just say that anyone who still supports Donald Trump, after seeing with their own eyes how he comported himself on January 6th, has got an issue. There's no way to justify that. It used to be you could have a friend that would say, "Oh yeah, I voted for Trump. I like that guy." But now it's pretty hard to remain friends with somebody that still says, "I like that guy." This is a guy, a president who worked to overthrow the government, the thing that makes our country great. He worked to override the Constitution, the thing that our fathers and our brothers and sisters, mothers fought for and died for. He's willing to throw that all under the bus to stay in power. That's the only thing that keeps us the United States is the rule of law and the peaceful transfer of power and the respect of the Constitution. And Donald Trump was completely derelict in his duty as President of the United States. He did not live up to his oath of office at all. And I don't see how anyone can any longer justify liking him. And you don't hear me wax political very often. At some point, you got to say, you have to put the brakes on and say, stop enabling lawmakers who enable the president, and even people in your own sphere who enable the president. You can't just let them say this stuff anymore. You can't let it slide. That's the support of that man who tried to overthrow the United States government is not acceptable. I get it if you're a conservative. All my wonderful conservative friends, there are plenty of other conservatives to vote for. Perfectly fine conservatives. Or at least conservatives who have not and will not attempt to overthrow the government, to diss the Constitution, just to stay in power. So I can no longer just be lazy and not talk about it. I need to talk about it, and so do you, with your online and with your friends and even your family. If you go home to Thanksgiving and your father or your mother is still loving Donald Trump, thinks he's a great man, then you have to light into him or disown them. It's that big. Let's see. There's a big difference between liking Donald Trump and liking his policies. Right. We're not talking about his policies. They are policies. Correct. Find some other conservative. Mike Pence, super conservative. Vote for him. I'm cool with that. If you have to vote for DeSantis, okay. Fine. I could live with that. Totally fine. If somebody said, Mike Pence is going to be president, I would not bat an eyelash. No problem. You want to know my theory? Well, here's my theory. This is how it's going to go down. Donald Trump will, of course, announce to run because it will be a shield for him from prosecution, because he'd be running for president and he can say, oh, it's all political, which is kind of a bummer that the DOJ didn't act sooner before we got to this point where he can run. But whatever. He's going to run. He's going to raise a lot of money. And then you get to New Hampshire. You get to some of the early races. If he starts losing, then he will find a graceful way out. He will drop out. If he's winning it all, he'll stay in, especially since it provides for him political, legal cover. What's going to be difficult for him is that he hates losing. That's his number one thing. He's a baby. He cannot take losing. His dad pounded that into him. Never lose. Be a killer. So on the one hand, can't stand losing, would definitely drop out if it looked like he was going to lose. However, he's stuck because the election does provides him with legal cover. So he's that balancing act he's got to do. We'll see. In New Hampshire, DeSantis beat Trump in a poll by like 2%, which is a big difference from a poll when they took the same poll previously where Trump had 43%, DeSantis at 18%. Now DeSantis beat Trump by 2%. So that's huge. For those of you who don't watch the hearings, that's kind of the duty of every American to know the facts. And it's not a political whack job. The people testifying against Trump are his own people. His own people. So there's that. If you're going to vote, it's your duty to understand the facts. And if you're not watching at least the highlights of the hearings, you're not getting the facts. You're not doing your duty. Let's see. Anybody else? U2. Back to the U2. U2 doing residency, biggest carbon footprint in city in Las Vegas. Yeah, right, John. That's true. But I don't know. Should they not go there because the city uses a lot of lights? Maybe. How much are tickets to U2? One thing about Bowie being dead now that's good is I don't have to fear that he would ever do anything that would make me not like him. He's not going to come out with any horrible albums. He's not going to come out and say anything stupid politically, and he's not going to come out and charge huge ticket prices. So there's that. There are a couple of bands I'm going to see, I think, at the Middle East. That's my jam. I get as much pleasure out of a Middle East gig as folks who paying $1,000 to go see Bruce Springsteen. It's like, folks, if you're thinking about paying that money, try to quantify, the level of pleasure you get per dollar, right? You get, let's see, how much more does it cost to go to see Bruce? It costs probably 10 times more to go see Bruce than it costs 10 times? No, wait. No, maybe 100 times. Way more. Not 10 times, way more than 10 times to go see Bruce than for me to go to the Middle East. Do you get that same exponent of increased pleasure? Do you get 10 times more pleasure? 20 times more pleasure? No, you didn't. I don't believe you do. Still, no one can really explain why they go. None of you folks. I would love to hear from somebody. Maybe I'll ask that question tonight on the Morgan. What Morgan's filling in for Dan, and I'm going to be on. So maybe I'll ask that question. Please, somebody explain to me how you justify paying that money. I'll say, is anybody going to see Bruce Springsteen? Obviously, somebody will be. And I want to know why. How do they justify it? Are they rich? Maybe that's it. Is it going to be just a bunch of rich people? I guess so. It doesn't sound very Brucey, does it? Maybe it's so they can say they did. Maybe that's worth it to them. Oh yeah, I was at Bruce. Dude, not worth it. Just lie. Just lie. Saying that saved you $2,000. Yeah, I was there. If it's really that important, just lie. Oh yeah, I was there. Am I able to watch the videos after I finish? Yeah, you are. It's streaming live. These stream live to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So, and they stay, yes. So you can watch the first part. Jerry Baby. Joe Bonamassa. Where's Lender Park? Lender Park Pavilion. Joe is the tea guy. He doesn't work at the tea, but he knows all about it. He completely does. I believe he belongs to a train organization. He's my go-to guy. I used to ride the orange line and ride the rails with him early in the morning. I do. It's a near religious experience. I'm not. So, Jerry Boyd, you're going to go see Bruce? So, okay. This is important, Jerry. Thank you for coming out. So it looks like you're going to go. It's a near religious experience for you. You're not rich. $350 for a wheelchair seat. So, Jerry, like how many hours, maybe you're not working now, but when you worked, how many hours of your work would you have to contribute to going for 300 bucks? No, that was 350. Let's see. Aerosmith, they're going for $300 a ticket. I'll listen outside of Fenway. Even that, Joe, it's not worth it. Put on a record, or just have memories. Remember, move on. There are bands you can go see for $15, and you can get right up front. You can get so close, the band will sweat on you. that comes from Mark Parento, who was maybe the best one-liner DJ who ever lived. Yeah, can Medicare, this is good. Can Medicare negotiate better rates for aged rockers, overaged rockers? You mean the fans, right? That's good. Good question. Maybe they should have a Medicare section, right? And that could be sponsored by, interesting, various like Blue Cross and United Healthcare. They could all sponsor that, pay a lot of money, get their signs up, and you could get subsidized tickets that way. Okay. I am working. So, okay, Jerry, you are working. So how many hours of work do you have to do to pay for your $350 ticket? He says, he's my Bowie. Well, he must be more than Bowie, because I would never pay $350 to see Bowie. Maybe because I've seen Bowie a lot, but people have seen Bruce Springsteen a lot. So that's not it. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't like the experience that much. Some people love everything about it. The drive there, well, you can take the T, so that's not a problem. Okay, you get there. There's another thing: paying the money for beer. That what they charge for beer. That alone would keep me from going. How much is beer now at one of those gigs? I remember being incensed when it was $8 for a cup of Budweiser. $8. When you could get an entire six-pack for $8. That's how I look at it. How many six-packs could I buy with that amount? How many six-packs could you buy for the price of a Bruce Springsteen ticket? Well, six packs of fancy $10 beer, which is like Heineken. That's not that fancy, but there's a lot of $10 beers. There's your $6.99 beers like Pabst. There's your $13.99 for four of those awful hoppy beers that people like. I try to like them, but I don't. Then there's your sweet spot, kind of your $10 six-pack. So how many of those could you get for going to see Bruce? With $350, obviously, 35. 35 six-packs. That's pretty good. Your best was Queen at Wembley, 30 quid. 30 quid. How much is a quid worth? Queen at Wembley. So that's a big... I guess you enjoyed it. I saw... Who did I see that I thought was good, even though it was a big venue? I don't know. Maybe Pink Floyd. Here we go. Give me a break. Give me a break. Vote for another Republican like Charlie Baker. Baker is a Democrat, or as they would say, a rhino. What a joke. Dennis. Okay. How did Charlie Baker come up? Dennis. Huh? How did that come up? Okay. Oh, are you saying that um, DeSantis is a rhino, well, then you just are wrong. I mean, that's no one will agree with you on that one. I don't think. And if they agree, then they are also wrong. 30 pounds. 30 pounds silver. Man, I remember the exchange rate of dollars to pounds used to be god awful. When I went to Ireland, I hitchhiked. No, I went to the Northern Ireland, right? And they still had the pound, I think. I had to leave because it was too expensive. Hey, this is fun. Everybody must win. Everybody must love the points. Are you talking about the points for purchasing something with your card? Maybe that's it. But of course, that's kind of letting the tail wag the dog, I think. By the way, have you tried Apple Pay? So effing cool. I know, I'm way behind it on this. I believe, it's my understanding, hope I'm not wrong, check it out before you do this, that it provides another layer of security. You don't use your card, nobody sees your actual card number, and it gives you, and you just go bloop on your phone. You don't have to keep your card with you, which means you don't have to risk losing your card. And losing your card is a giant bummer. So I'm mega excited about that. Nobody commented about how great my beard looks. I'm sort of disappointed. Bradley, says Will Lyons. Bradley, in the BCN days, you must have been paid for attending concerts. Oh yeah, baby. Thanks for reminding me. That's right. That's right. Sometimes, if we got to MC the concert, well, actually, if we just went, then we weren't paid. Like, we weren't on a clock. That was just expected of us. That was doing our job, getting out there, having a presence, and that was expected of us. And if we didn't do it, then we fell out of favor. But everyone wanted to do it because we loved it. The way you got paid is if you MC'd, especially if it's a sponsorship or something. You could get paid for that. Sometimes venues would want, thank you, great beard, let me tell you about it. So I had a professional barber. Her name was Nettie. She left where she was in the North End and opened her own shop. Unfortunately, her shop is way out in Medford, which is prohibitively far. So last few times I went to her, I watched what she did and stuff. It was the best deal. It was $15, and I gave her a $10 tip. Which, by the way, even though that's the difference between frugal and cheap. Frugal is when I only want to pay $4 for my beer, $4.50 max. I don't like paying $5. So I go to old man bars, dive bars, pubs, where I can get a tall Budweiser or Veltons for $4, $4.50. So even though I will buy that beer, I'll leave like a 60% tip. When I go to my secret location, I'll get 3 beers. If they're $15, if they're $5 each, which I don't like, that's $15. I leave $10. That's my standard thing. So that's the difference between frugal and cheap. I buy the cheap beer, I leave a whumping tip. Says you used to work in Meffa. Yeah. And it was a hump, but luckily it was right on the Orange Line. Her shop would require another mile of walking. And so I'm not that's right, Gansett Tallboy, that's right. Gansett. PBR, I like PBR fine, but it's too much of a I'd go with the Gansett. Gansett. And I like saying Gansett, please. And there's one bar that has Veltins, which is a European beer, and they charge the same as Gansett, which I like. Don't tell them where it is, Joe. So there you go. I have invested in so much taking beard stuff. Here's how it goes. First, I should actually show you my whole procedure at some point. I can do a tutorial. First, I got this thing called a head blade, $15 for the head. Let me unveil my head. I don't generally look how smooth that is. It gets shiny. It's too bright to have on camera here because it just looks like a big giant. It doesn't look that giant in person, but it is so smooth. Whoa! No scratches, no cuts, and it's not sore. And that's the thing called a head blade. It's weird looking in yellow. That was only $15. Down here, I use remember the old injector razors? Well, I got a new injector razor. I'm going to have to turn on the AC. It might get a little loud. Injector razor. Like, remember the old Schicks? They have a brand, there's a brand called Parker. Has an adjustable injector razor. So that's here. I got this fancy Italian shaving cream. I forget the name. Begins with P. Worth it. I can't remember the name of it. Then here I have a series of, I use the clippers. Number 1 here, number 2 here, number 3 here, and number 4 here. Then I'll take the clipper guard off and have it bareback and go like it just here, make a line, and a line. Then the pièce de résistance, the straight razor, right here, foam it up, and just the only thing the straight razor is for is to get that line straight, because that's what she used to do. You got to be careful you don't cut your eye, because when she did it, I could close my eyes, and you know, life is dangerous, right? Lens flare. That's right. My head causes lens flare. You can see my head from Mars without any telescope. All right. I definitely talked enough. What, I've been talking like an hour, right? 43 minutes. I don't want you to get bored, so I'll leave now. But shame on the hypocrite rockers. Damn. A PBS special on how to shave? Steven? Another thing I might do is show you how I make my wallets. I have a system down. I don't know why I make them. I like making them. I make them instead of watching TV and drinking. I watch TV and make them. But I can make them pretty quickly now, and I have a specific design. And I can get you the tool. I could bring the tools here and just show you all how it's done. It's pretty simple. I did a lot of trial and error, which was unnecessarily expensive. That's how trial and error is. You know, with colored threads and different kinds of leather. One thing that's key is the choice of leather is so, it's not just the color, but not just the thickness either, but you know, some thin leathers are stiff, some are soft. You really want a stiff one. I'll go through all that. So what do I have to do next? I shaved. I talked to you. Oh, exercise. Right. Right. Talk to you later. Bye now.